Hi everyone, this is Jobenblue, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the SHF Hit. I know already there were some accessory things that I didn't like about Hit. We'll talk about those as we go along, which they did not seem to rectify. There's a lot of things I want to find out about too, like I heard that there's an interchangeable torso piece. That was something that was listed on the P Bandai manifold thing. That'll be fun. And unfortunately, this one is made in Vietnam. We know now that it's not just Vietnam that's making bad figures. China's having problems too. It's just an all-around QC problem, but I've heard that this one has some QC stuff with it, so that's not gonna be fun. Got your normal little inserts here. Very nice purple color. Here's the manual. Got a few different heads. What is that? Interchangeable breast part. Narrow. Yeah, I'm gonna probably have a few words to say about that. Waist assembly. There were like a billion times I almost got the Dragon Stars version of Hit. But I don't know, I just decided not to. Because I knew that SHF was going to make him one day, and I just wasn't really a fan of how the Dragon Stars looked. Okay, let's just go ahead and start off with the main problem I have with this Hit, is that there is no closed... Okay, we're just going to have him like this for now. The biggest problem I have with this is that there's no closed eye face, and he's like that for half of Universe 6. And you know, whenever he's like got his hands in his pockets and he's walking through the streets getting ready to kill his target, he's got his eyes closed too. So I really wish it would have come with a closed eye face, but instead we have... So this one's like blank, and this one's angry. I think the one that's on it right now, this base head, very easily could have been the closed eye face. Looking at the figure, it is very pretty. That cannot be denied. I didn't like how the first impression turned out, so I'm just going to re-record this. I have messed with the figure for a few months now, so I guess this really isn't a first impression anymore. But I do know that you guys want to use these as reviews, so it'll only help you. So Hit can look pretty far forward. Not a lot of back range on him. That's about as far as I can get it to go. There is a half decent side to side. And if we look under here, we can see that the figure is on a double ball joint. What we're used to seeing are these like half balls into full balls that go straight up and down. And it has great forward, not the best back. And it cannot go like side to side at all. And whenever you do even try to do that, the half ball there is clearly being stressed in ways it is not supposed to, so this is definitely not a natural action for it to be taking. That's not to say that this design can't work with minor tweaking, because the Figma Yusaku Playmaker from Yu-Gi-Oh! Is also kind of on the same design with a half ball, but they really understand how the neck is supposed to work. It's supposed to connect at the bottom of the hair and pretty far back, not straight up and down. And with this figure, we can go crazy left, crazy right, look up a fair amount. I mean, this design still needs a little bit of tweaking, but that is pretty good. And then forward crunch, not really a problem. So could we modify the standard design that we've seen so far into a system that can work very well? Obviously, yes. And this is kind of what that would look like. Of course, I've clearly just blue tacked it. I mean, I guess technically if you wanted to, you could just rip out the neck ball here and just use blue tack as a connection joint. But we could really get a lot out of Dragon Ball figures if we were to put the hinge at a 90-degree angle towards the back and put it pretty far close. Like, you wouldn't want to just take the figure and put the ball right there. Like, it'd have to be like closer towards the middle or something. They have to tweak this design. Maybe it's supposed to be forward or something, but like, they definitely need to look at the neck design again. I'm not getting a lot of use out of the bottom part of the ball joint just because it's stuck in so far. Maybe if it was on like up and down like that, I could get more range out of it, and maybe somebody could think of a way to turn this inner part around, but for now it's fine. The next logical step, if they want to go the route of the double ball joint neck, is to add a kink to it like Mofex does, because it can clearly look really far back. This is what it's like with a kink towards the back, and this is what it's like kink towards the front. Like, it can just bury its chin a little bit easier, but for the most part, you really don't care, because the back of the head range is what you really want out of it. So yeah, this is acceptable. Just put a kink in the neck and you should be good. Or go back to the other design, just angle it perpendicular like that, and you should be good. Like, there is no excuse for SHF necks being as shit as they are. Mofex has got this figured out, and Figma has this figured out. These shoulder caps are on this weird little fold-out system thing, and I was thinking about, like, why would SHF possibly do that? It's something that they've done before. This is a bootleg clone lieutenant, I don't remember, but it does the exact same system. Is this great? No. Is it better than a hard cap system? Probably, because you can see it would just limit the articulation. So this is designed so that it can get up and get over there like this. A lot of you guys know what Star Wars Black Series is, and we have there the Clone Troopers. This is the new improved body mold. This cap is made of a soft material so that when you push on it, it just kind of gets out of the way like that. Here with the Stormtrooper, you actually have it on its own separate articulated thing, so you can move the arm and then the pauldron can still be right there. I've looked back at reference material in the show, and it seems like the green here is like fully encapsulated by the shoulder cap, and so I wish it had like cutouts or something in the back of here and just kept the cap like on the shoulder or something. I think that would have looked so much better. And they're also kind of small. And if you have trouble getting these caps back on, kind of try and feel around and see to make sure that you're on the ball joint, and then you can slide it down. So I'll do it again. Get it on the ball joint, which is kind of difficult, but you can see it's kind of lined on there, and then I can just push it down like that, and it goes back on. So, am I happy with the way that they did these shoulder caps? Honestly, no. It does have butterfly joints here. This could have had a justification for it being green if the shoulder cap were to stay in place all the time, like Black Series or whatever. But as it is now, if you're going to put the shoulder cap onto the actual shoulder like this, you should have made this part be the same material as the oversuit and not this green material, because you see it just breaks up sculpt. It's just, looks like crap. Just paint your caps. But we know that SHF has not understood how to do this properly for quite a while. They did get it right on the Super Saiyan God event exclusive, but for the most part, they are just not painting these caps right. Again, there could have been a justification for this as being green, but they would have had to have done the shoulder cap thing here in a completely different way. There is an alternate breastplate. However, I'm having some difficulties really understanding what I'm supposed to be able to gain by having it in there. This is stock, and as you can see, he's got a bit of a side boob going on there as to where, like, I think that's what they're trying to eliminate, is this area here, which doesn't really make any sense, because as long as you have good butterfly joints, which this figure has, you can get great range out of there. So let's do it again, this time with the narrow plate. You can see the difference because there is an A on the side boob plate and there is a B on his narrow side plate. So that's what it's trying to cut out there. I'm hardly seeing a justification for needing a separate side boob plate. Any shortcomings that this has, like, did not need to be corrected with an optional breastplate. It's just, it's weird, and at best it kind of gives him like boobs, like very clearly he's got boobs now, which is like weird to see on Hit, but I'm sure somebody out there can justify it. As far as arms go, his arms are fantastic. He's got the bicep swivel up there, and he's got double jointed elbows, and they go all the way up, farther than they should be able to, but fantastic range. And then they also have butterfly joints there to support them. Standard Gokus, they're usually buried a little bit inward, but I'd say that this is still a very good butterfly range on them. But it's really just, they're very recessed into there. So, I don't know. This is something weird I saw the other day. They actually put butterfly joint limiters into Bardock. So I don't know what that's about. I think it's just so that you can not break up sculpt, but I don't really get it, because this is the stock and this is after you cut out the limiter, and I don't think that there's really enough of a difference here to justify leaving in the limiter. Like, if it's just this little, ooh, you can see inside of it, I think it's cool to be able to see inside the figure and like really understand the mechanism that's going on in there. So thank God that Hit has really good butterfly joints. They're unhindered in any way, shape, or form. Like, literally anything that I've thought of wanting to be able to do with this figure, it's able to do. I would say it's as good as the Mofx Peter B. I don't know that I would say better, but like, this is clearly a fantastic butterfly joint range. There's no limiters or anything stupid like that in there. For the hands, I did run into a QC problem. On this one, there was just too much flash left on there. I literally could not get this peg to move. What the hell? I think they forgot to cut out that chunk right there, you see? I think that spot, it's supposed to be cut out, but it's not. So what I'm gonna do, take my X-Acto here. I also did have to go in there and use some silicone chalk oil on the bottom ball peg there. I think that was one of the issues that people had with Hit, is that they were unable to get their wrist to move around, but just use a little bit of chalk oil and it should fix right up. As far as the torso goes, speaking of being able to see on the inside here, you can kind of see in there. It's got a connection with a ball joint at the neck there, and actually, I think, yeah, there's an interior hinge as well, which is really great. It's a catapult joint on the inside. There's no limiters as far as I can tell, but I don't think I've actually been able to get this part off there. After you've cut out the limiters, and like they do have this hinge range, it's really hard to be able to get off the material again. Like, I've cut out the hinge on this Goku, and it's just hard to be able to get back in. But that's pretty much what the catapult joint looks like. They did it here. Fantastic. It's what we want to see. This ball joint here, so I actually had to use some silicone oil on that one as well. There's a little bit of rotation around up here, but not a ton. And it's running into itself, so if you try to push it any farther, you would just start to scratch. As you can see that there is now an indent in there. You do want to be careful because I have scratched up my hit there at the top just because this breastplate is running into that area. It does seem like there's a little bit of a pop up right here. Maybe it's just the pop up before it bends forward, but there's definitely a pop up there. So if you want to make sure that yours does not scratch, then you could always make sure that you pop this up just a little bit before you move anything forward, and then you should not run into those same clearance issues. Another ball joint with a hinge, and you can see it's actually offset a little bit, and all of this combines to allow for a fantastic back range as well as an insane crunch forward. This is fantastic. It's what we want to see. I wouldn't say that it's perfect to do right here. I wish they'd actually done another catapult joint, but this is a lot better on some other figures that I've seen lately. It's better than the forward range on the Goku because you really got to cut out the ab limiters in order to get really anything out of the torso, because without that, it's almost like just this whole midsection here is like just basically one whole piece. There's no hinge or anything right here. So I like that they hinged this one like they did for the Broly movie Vegeta. Moving on down, we have skirt pieces here, which are labeled right and left. Use your fingers to identify which one is your left hand here. So this one says left, which means it's going to go in there. And quite honestly, I don't think that the males and females on these two match very well. I don't know if it was just mine that they just had a problem with or something, but these do not like to... There's just not like a really flush fit. I don't know what it is. The best way that I found out to be able to get these in there is to push back right here, and then you can very easily see what you're doing and push it in before you put this thing back down. It's nice that it is a rubbery material. The entire assembly here for the skirt is just like really weird. I wish that these things, instead of connecting to the actual Hit's body, I wish they connected to the belt here in some way. But as they are very annoying. They like to fall off pretty easily or bend in weird ways. It's just like they don't take much to get them off. And this is made of a material that I don't think adheres very well with blue tack. However, that's always an option to try. There is another pair of skirt things. They are just as annoying as the other ones. However, these ones, at least for me, have better male to female peg-in thing. But it's almost like there's too much on the male peg here. But yeah, he does come with a completely separate skirt assembly just for the hands and his pockets, which I think is so stupid, because I think that they very easily could have just made a cutout there and like put some extra material or something, so and have it overlap so that you could be able to get the hand pushed into there without needing a whole nother skirt piece assembly. It's really stupid. It's just like trying to get anything in there and manipulate it to be on the right points, or it's very annoying. It's better than the traffic cone of, like, say, Whis, but I wish SHF would just go ahead and make the transition to cloth with their Dragon Ball line. Technically, they could have made the skirt piece work if they had just made it connect to the belt just a little bit better, but it's very annoying trying to use the skirt piece in any assembly, and quite honestly, it's just so hindering to the greatness of the Hit figure that you'd just rather not use it, honestly. As far as the legs go, they are fantastic. They go all the way out. I'd say that's a pretty good Van Damme. Move crazy ranges. They stop at his butt, which is okay. And then they go like a stupid far amount forward. And then some before it finally ends up popping off. I went ahead and blue tacked it in there. Not because I really felt like it needed it, but just to help it not happen as much. And I think there was also a small bit of flash left on here as well, so I had to go in there and cut that off with my gunpla nippers. Oh, it's Vietnam. It's Vietnam. It's like, I don't know that I would say that. It may have just been a new guy. As fantastic as the upper elbow is here, the bottom is not nearly as good. You see, like, the gap is here at the top joint, but at the bottom joint it is flush. And then it seems like here what you have is the top joint is flush and the bottom joint has the gap. So I think that's why you can't get as much leg range on here. Yeah, you can see it's clearly running into itself at the back of the knee there. You could cut that off or something if you wanted to give it more range. I don't think that you really should, because I think as far as human anatomy is concerned, this is a good enough range. But it's weird that for as good as the elbows on this figure are, it's not very good in the leg department. And of course it swivels at the thigh. As far as feet articulation goes, as opposed to the normal style of like having it go straight up and down and being all weird, they finally went the way of the ankle rocker, which we have seen before on, of course, like $20 Black Series lines. And then we've also seen this before on Bulma. That's why I really enjoyed the foot sculpt, how they did it on Bulma, because she has fantastic range, and it's all because of this ankle rocker here. They did seem to improve the Hit ankle rocker to the point where it's not quite as limited by the actual shoe anymore. So in terms of ankle rocker, it is absolutely fantastic. It can go a crazy far amount back and a crazy far amount forward. Like, this is one of the best feet systems that we've ever seen on an SHF figure, and it's great. I don't like drop down hips. I think they look really tacky, but they can get you crazy far forward ranges. They can at least help to make up if the upper torso articulation sucks. Hit does not need that, and so to see it be able to take a not drop down hip system and still be able to get this crazy bend, I think that this is the proper articulation. Over this, I just don't think it's entirely accurate to human anatomy. So I am really impressed with everything that I've seen on Hit. Now let's look at some size comparisons, and then I'll give final thoughts and wrap up this video. Hit is about 6.5 inches tall. Here he is next to the Funko Pop Champa and the Full Power SSJ Goku. Black Series 2.0 Clone Trooper, Black Series 2.0 Mortar Stormtrooper, Hit, of course, and then Gimpy. I do not have Kefla. Not going to get Kefla either. You know that thing that's supposed to hold the basketball onto his arm? Yeah, it just broke. It's a really stupid design. It's supposed to be between his hand and his forearm, but as you can see earlier, I had actually put it right there, and that broke it off. They do this with Spider-Man figures too, so like, I guess it's not something that's new to them, but like, this is a piece of shit. I really wish that the specific hand that they made to hold the basketball had a peg sticking out of it like they did for, say, Vegito or Trunks. So be careful so you don't accidentally break the holder that should have never been there in the first place, because it's an old and outdated design. I fixed it. I'm actually really impressed because it does not seem to be showing up a ton through that translucent ball. If you really just want to, say screw this stupid plastic piece of crap that likes to break, and just throw on some blue tack. It looks great, and you don't have to run into the breakage issue. I really think it should have come with a closed eye head. I also think it's really missing the Goku hologram he had in episode 71. I think that that was one of the coolest accessories, and to not have it be on Hit is disappointing. I've clearly had Hit out like for the past few months. I've been messing around with him. He's a really fun figure. He can get into like all these stupid crazy poses, and you don't have to fight the figure or anything. It just does what you ask it to do. It is just so freaking fantastic. I wouldn't say that the figure is as good as Gogeta. Like, Gogeta still clearly has its faults with the croissants, which Tamashii should know better now. Do like Black Series, and this one does also have an ab limiter, but even with an ab limiter, it's got a squishy belt, and you can just do stupid, crazy ranges with it. So, as far as do I think that it takes the top SHF figure of all time, no, I still think in my book it's Gogeta. Is Hit a really, really, really well-made Dragon Ball SHF with a few minor setbacks and still super fun to play with? Of course, definitely. Hit's not a figure I want to put away anytime soon. However, I do definitely want to replace this cloth skirt. It's a great figure. It's a fantastic figure. I would recommend picking one up. Be careful of the things that I've shown in this video, and it should be a really, really, really good figure. This has been Jobenblue. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.